So let's jump right in to Soulkey versus Best. This is going to be on Circuit Breaker. This is from Africa live stream, presumably from at least a day or two ago. I'm sure I can find out if I look up here. Yeah, from 10/13, so fairly recent. It's still from this week. And considering that we just had a pretty amazing ZVP in the ASL with Rain versus Larva, it only makes sense to go ahead and talk about ZVP a little bit more. One of the things that really bothers me about the ASL games that we saw, sorry if this is spoilers, just so you guys know, if you haven't seen the games yet and you don't want to be spoiled, go ahead and skip ahead like 60 seconds. Not much is going to happen in this early game anyway, but I really loved seeing the way that Larva played very, very aggressively with his Scourge, and just really thrived against Rain's very drop-heavy style that he does in PvZ. And so it was one of the really nice things that I think definitely needs to be talked about a lot in this game, because Larva made Rain look bad, even though Rain was playing at like 1000%. Rain was playing insanely well overall, but he looked really bad just because Larva was playing so well, and that's why he ended up losing. But let's go ahead and talk about this game. So far, we've got the Overpool opening versus the Gate First from Best. Now, it's really interesting that Best is still relying on this Gate First. We've kind of seen Gate First builds fall out of style again in favor of Forge Fast Expands, just because Zergs have been getting better and better and better about figuring out how to deal with this early pressure from the Zealots. Because as long as you just save up Larva, you make up to about 8 lings, you're pretty much safe from Gate First builds. And then you can always go for Speed First, deny all the scouting on the map from any probes or any Zealots that might try to come out across the map, and then just blast out a bunch of Hydras off of 3 hatches, go for a 3-hatch Hydra bus. And there's not really a lot that the Protoss player can really do about it. And that's kind of why we've seen it go out of style, because, you know, when you are going for this early gateway build, you end up getting your wall a lot later, so you're really susceptible to run-bys like this that Soulkey's doing right now. It causes a lot of problems for you. You have to leave a couple of Zealots home, and you have to really wait until you get that Forge out to really start actually pushing this back. It can be really, really annoying. So you see Best is walling off to the best of his abilities. Not intended. Unfortunately, it seems like Best has had just a lot of problems with walls recently. If I think about all of the games that I've seen in the past couple of months with Best doing this gateway opening, he's not very good at walling off. He has a lot of problems getting the full wall off in time. So again, Soulkey getting 3 lings into the base early on in the game, and it's not GG by any means, but Soulkey did go for very fast speed to follow this up before he even got his 3rd base, so he has a lot of ability to keep these lings alive for a long time, do a lot of damage, be really, really annoying. And at the same time, he really is able to continually scout around, find out what the Protoss player is doing. And as long as his reinforcements come out and are micro decently well, he'll be able to hold off this initial Zealot aggression. Best doing a pretty good job with this poke, and partially just because a lot of Soulkey's attention is on these 2 or 3 lings in the main right now. But both players just kind of at each other's throats, just doing a little bit of damage. Soulkey really could have traded a lot better versus those Zealots had he been paying attention, but it's a very difficult situation to do. However, in this case, he does manage to actually save that drone. Still has 2 lings alive in the Protoss base, so he can continue getting that scouting information for basically forever. And now that he has Zergling speed, it's going to be impossible to ever kill those lings. They're just going to be running around, causing all kinds of problems. Even just annoying poking at that cannon, threatening to take it down if the Zealots don't move. And these couple of lings can actually do a pretty serious amount of damage. Oh my gosh, he's actually going to go for a surround on the cannon with these couple of lings, but there might just be too many zealots. He's just going to have to go into the main for now. The surround on the cannon is pretty good from Best. However, he is having to deal with lots of groups of lings all around, some in his natural, some in his main, and now a couple more are going to be threatening the front as well. This causes just so many problems as a Protoss player, and if you're trying to actually deal with this, it can be a serious pain for you. So far, both players just macroing up really, really hard. This has been a huge detriment to Best, who's gotten his Stargate exceptionally late compared to normal. Normally, you want that Stargate up much earlier than now, but having that Stargate up now, it means he's probably not going to have a Corsair out by at least 7 minutes, which is pretty damn late in this matchup, even if you go for a gateway at first opening. That is going to be pretty painful for him. So, meanwhile, behind this, Soulkey is kind of free to do whatever he wants. He can just continue to drone up, and continue to make tons and tons of drones, get that economy going, and then he'll just follow up with a ton of Hydras going into the mid-game. Soulkey very well known for that mid-game Hydra aggression. By the way, yo, Ancient Cyan X, what is up? Thanks for tuning into the cast and watching. Hopefully we'll have some pretty good games today. Today we're just going to be focusing on PvZ in honor of the Larva Rain match that was so good yesterday. So Soulkey is going to go ahead and get that fast Evo, start his +1 carapace upgrade so he can deal with these zealots coming out across the map. Gotta be careful though, not to lose a leg for free. Fast reflex is looking good. And first Corsair is going to come in here now and scout out things. See what's going on. Not going to see anything that's too out of place other than Soulkey's lair is a little bit late. So he's definitely going to be noticing that he has a little bit of time to kind of do whatever he wants. And with the Hydrogen only just coming down, there's a very realistic possibility of Best picking off Overlords for free with these Corsairs, but he's actually just going out across the map to pick off Corsairs. It's a bit surprising to me. If you know that your opponent's lair is late, and you know that the Hydrogen only just started building, which he saw very clearly with his initial scouting, I guess that one Spore is good enough to deflect him, but it's really not... It shouldn't be that scary versus once you get 3 Corsairs up, you can easily take that down. Or at least just prevent Overlords from being built anywhere except for the natural. Causes lots of problems for the Zerg player. So Zealot's starting to move out right now. I don't believe they have +1 quite yet. But Soulkey's actually just going to go straight for the counterattack maybe. He's looking for it, maybe potentially going in behind there. There are 2 cannons though, which would seriously break down a lot of the Ling numbers before they actually manage to get any damage done. But right now it looks like they're just going to follow the Zealots around, keep an eye on them, while Soulkey continues to macro build up units on the defense. Ling's just being kind of relentless over here, forcing Best to really pay attention. And here come all the Corsairs going to come on, get on top of all of these Overlords, starting to get lots and lots of splash damage on them. And that could be really disastrous for Soulkey. He's supply block now, stuck at 50 of 29, so he's going to have to rebuild a bunch of Overlords in order to come back, but he did clean up the Zealots pretty cost efficiently, so no more pressure going to be coming out across the map quite yet, but he still has to get some more Overlords out so he can start defending his bases, so he can make sure that he can continue to macro. I feel like overall that was still a positive trade for Soulkey, because even though he ended up losing a lot of Overlords, in return, Best traded something like 700, 800 minerals for that, without getting any real significant damage onto the army. There's still plenty of Lings out on the map to go ahead and scout around and prevent that third base from going down. So overall, Soulkey looking really good right now. Going to be going into the mid game pretty comfortably. Best is actually just going to be adding on a ton of gateways, knowing that he kind of botched that initial attempt. He's going to have to add on a lot of gateways and slowly bust out of his base because he's pretty far behind now. He can't just take a third base for free behind this with a couple Zealots and Templar. So triple Evo chamber coming down for Soulkey. Soulkey's going to be pounding really, really hard now with the triple upgrades. Probably going to be going for a 4th base and Hive as soon as he starts getting comfortable with the map control. As soon as he starts feeling a little bit more comfortable with his unit count. We see the 4th base going down right now. Beautiful play so far from Soulkey, macroing just absolutely fantastically. Best, not really known for his Corsair control. So these Corsairs, even though they are out right now, don't think they'll be out there for too long. It's only a matter of time before Best flies his Corsairs over Hydralisk and lose them all. We could, oh, I was about to say we could just see it right now, but I don't think we will, not quite yet. Meanwhile, fast shuttle coming out for Best. Looks like he might be trying to do some sort of an early storm drop to get back into the game while he's sitting back here while he's powering up. He's going to send the Corsairs over as well to just kind of screen for that shuttle, make sure that things aren't going too badly in his favor. He's got to try to secure this 3rd base, but this might have been a little bit too early, a little bit too aggressive. Where is that storm drop? Is he getting ready for it? He still has those units floating over there by Soulkey's natural, but he's pulled back for now, maybe deciding that this is not the right time to do this. He wants to make sure that he takes this 3rd base instead. Maybe perhaps a little bit nervous about the potential of a Hydra bust off of 5 or 6 hatches. However, he did scout out the 6th base, or sorry, the 4th base, 6 hatch 4th base from Soulkey, so he should have a pretty good idea of what's going on. Instead, it looks like he's just going to be going for a big frontal attack. This is the Best we know and love. Get lots of units, just go for a big attack. And oh my gosh, Soulkey's already ready for this drop. He already knows it's coming. Beautiful play by Soulkey to try to get in here and kill off a Templar. Doesn't get it, but he does waste at least one of those storms, so that is going to be one less storm for all of these Hydras coming out. However, it looks like Soulkey's just going to hold with pure Ling Hydra. I don't know if he's going to have the ability to do it. He's trying to delay as long as possible with these couple of links in the back, but this is pretty scary coming in right now. And with the observers as well, this is a very powerful push coming out from Best. He doesn't have a ton of units out on the map quite yet. The first storm is pretty nice, going to be able to get on top of those units. A couple more Zealots running out across the map. Soulkey really relying on that one Sunken to pull off a miracle for him. And so far, it looks like he's actually deflected Best for now. Best is going to be pulling back, looking for a different angle to get into Soulkey's base. Maybe going down into this low base, low ground base at the 4th for Soulkey. But Soulkey is slowly repositioning. He's getting prepared. He had that Overlord in position to see, so he's going to be prepared for this. This isn't going to come as a complete shock or a surprise to him, but it's going to be difficult to still get down this ramp. There's still so many lurkers over there. All the Zealots going to melt instantly, and this looks like it's going to be the end of the aggression for Best. Soulkey is slowly macroing up. He's slowly getting to a point where he can actually match his opponent's army. There really hasn't been much of a development in the tech for Best, and it really hasn't been able to actually get that storm drop into the natural like he would like. Soulkey's staying on top of that, keeping those Hydras over there no matter what, just to make sure that no drops come into there and kill him off. Meanwhile, it looks like Best is just going to keep up the pressure, trying to go into the natural now, but there's still so many lurkers in position. Soulkey's defense has been absolutely immaculate so far, and now that he's going into Hive with those triple upgrades, he's going to pull way, way, way far ahead. He's going to have such powerful units with this Hydra Lurker army. Sorry, Hydra Lurker Ling army, and once he adds on the Defilers, that's just the icing on top. That just makes life super, super easy. More and more Lings being rallied over here, trying to push back these Templar. Great storms on top of the Sunkens, however, Sunkens do not take damage from storms, unfortunately. Can you imagine how broken this matchup would be if storms did damage to buildings? That'd be insane. Oh my gosh. But luckily it's psionic, so only does damage to units. Losing a couple units for free here is Best. A little bit nervous, upset about this 4th base being attacked. He's going to have to cancel it, which is a little bit painful for him, but with a couple of DTs here, he is going to be able to clear this out and probably re-expand. It is just a pain for him to have that delayed though, so you can tell he's a little bit nervous, a little bit upset about the pressure that Soulkey might be able to put on. He's aborted his attack for right now. This shuttle that was in clear view of that Overlord for ages is finally going to move out. And it looks like our control is actually being seated. Excuse me, is being seated back over to the Zerg. It's just going to be best looking for potential drop plays, looking to deny this 5th as long as possible with the map pressure. It is honestly pretty hard to actually get a 5th base at this point in the game for Zerg unless you have a very, very strong army, unless you can get a good flank. But overall, it's just been turtling hardcore onto these 4 bases. Once the Hive comes in, maybe you get a little bit of a chance to break out of your base, but as long as the Protoss player keeps the pressure up, keeps the potential of drop play coming into the main and the natural, keeps the army pressure up here, it can definitely be difficult for Zerg, but Best is getting impatient. He really is looking for some sort of damage. Good storm on top of all those Lings, but he's going to lose a couple of Dragoons for free. Trading Dragoons for Lings, not good at all. You really always want to have a couple Zealots in front of those Dragoons just to tank for them and add a little bit more consistent DPS. It's like it's going to be a Zealot Templar drop coming over into potentially the natural for Best, but it gets scattered out immediately. It looks like maybe he's just trying to play a little bit of chess with these drops, maybe sending one on one side of the map to get obviously scattered while sending the other one to the other side. But Scourger out on the map for Soulkey. Soulkey's going to be able to defend this pretty nicely as long as he has units in position. There are only 2 or 3 Corsairs out now for Best. Oh my gosh, the shuttle gets scattered out immediately, but Gravitic Drive just finishes in time, so that is going to be a safe shuttle. It is going to get out safely. Luckily, lots of Archons now being added onto Best's army. Looks like he's getting ready for that late game transition. We got the Reavers out as well. So this is going to start looking like the big, scary late game toss army. And as long as he can continue to deny this 5th base, or at least slow it down, he's going to be in decent shape. He just has to be careful about losing too much of his army cost efficiently, running into lurkers, running into packs of Lings, etc., etc. Behind this, Best is doing a really good job of taking these other bases as well. He's got an Archon over there to defend for right now. This drop going in YOLO solo into the main isn't going to be able to get the good storms off. Immediate response from Soulkey, but he is going to lose every single drone in the main. The drone dodge is not good enough. So big win there for Best. That's going to take at least another macro cycle for Soulkey to actually catch up in his work account and get back to producing units. Very painful at this point in the game when you want to be making just units and no more drones for the rest of the game. Unfortunately, he's going to have to replace those. Best looking in pretty fantastic shape, honestly. Once he secures this base up in the top left-hand corner, then he can start going ahead and taking the high ground area as well. Start defending that with Reavers, start defending it with tons and tons of Zealots and Templar, and he'll be in pretty good shape. Good storms coming down, blanketing on top of all of these lurkers, but right now the defense is pretty good for Soulkey. He's going to be able to hold this ramp for the time being. Big cannon farm going out there in the top left-hand corner. Best has done a pretty good job of continually denying this 5th base from Soulkey, and Soulkey may be able to push forward slowly with these swarms, but it's going to take him quite a long time. And as long as the army is here with those Reavers, with those Archons, and all of the Templar, it's going to be difficult to actually get much done. Good play going down on top of the shuttle. It's going to make it a lot weaker, but not enough to actually weaken the Reavers, which is the really scary part about that shuttle. The shuttle is pretty strong, but even if the shuttle drops the Reavers, I mean, full health Reavers, pretty scary. So he actually going to be, he actually took an expo behind the mineral line over there at the 3rd, so he's going to get a little bit of mining out of that, but it's going to take him a while to slowly leapfrog forward. Maybe he'll think about putting down a couple of Sunkens. At this point, Best is firmly in control of the game. He's already taking that top left main as well. He's got his big, scary late game army. Even though there was a pretty nice play going down on top of those units, it wasn't quite enough. The Scourge do not pick off the Observer. I take that back, but the Scourge don't pick up the Observer, but the Hydras do. And that is going to be Best pulling back right now until he can get another Observer. This is the bane of late game Protoss versus Zerg, is every time you lose one of those observers, it is a pain in the ass to replace it and wait for it to walk all the way across the map. But Best is doing such a good job of just controlling the map, keeping an eye out on where his opponent might be expanding, and just continually putting lots of pressure while expanding himself. He's got lots and lots of bases at this point. It's pretty hard for him to actually lose now that he's got this big scary army. However, the cost efficiency of late game Zerg is pretty nice, especially now that these Zerg units are very highly upgraded. They've got tons and tons of DPS coming out, especially those Lings are very, very scary right now. And as long as Soulkey can continue to macro, can continue to make all of these units and slowly expand outwards, he'll be in an okay shape. It's kind of weird the way that we've seen this matchup turn on its head in the last couple of weeks. Just in the way that Zergs are playing a little bit more defensively, getting their 5th and 6th bases a little bit later. And as long as they can hold on and get to that late game with all those nice, spicy upgrades, they do pretty well versus a primarily ground army Protoss. So it's definitely possible for Best to slowly push this forward, start doing some serious damage, but he's got to be careful about how he does this. So far, really nice job surrounding those Reavers, but not good enough. Lots of Archons on that high ground over there in that bottom left-hand base, denying that base basically forever from Soulkey. Soulkey's kind of stuck on these 5 bases, which means after a while the cost efficiency of the Protoss units should be able to catch up, but it all depends on this next engagement. Soulkey just going for it. Lots of these units underneath Swarm and not enough Zealots to actually kill off the Lurkers. That is going to be a lot of the army of Best melting. However, he still does have very good defenses. He traded pretty well overall. And it looks like those probes were stuck there for about an hour trying to figure out how to get through. Looks like maybe now he remedied that and they'll be in good shape. Soulkey's actually going to take this 3 o'clock base, it looks like, instead of the bottom left-hand base, knowing that there's lots of Archons down there, knowing that it's really hard to actually take that. He's just going to go ahead and take the safer base for himself. Here comes Best, pushing in here very strongly, but these are scary Lings. They do so much damage right now, and Lings coming into the 3rd right now of Best, doing actually a ton of damage. That's 2 subgroups of Lings. The unit's not getting there quite on time, but the Storms are pretty nice. Going to be able to clean up most of these Lings, and it looks like that base is going to be safe for now. That could have definitely been a dead base, given another 10 seconds or so for those Lings to just go crazy. However, Best really needs to be careful now, because now that he's pressuring this bottom side of the map, there's just going to be Lings flitting in over and over and over. Bad Storms over there going to actually hit most of his units, but he does have a Reaver over there now. He is going to be a little bit safer. He's got to play very smart now. Make sure that he's got the proper defenses at his base. Make sure that he has decent splash at all of his bases to keep his units alive. Great play coming out from Soulkey. Going to be able to kill off those units, but the Defiler does go down, and maybe this is an opportunity for Best to slowly push forward. Now that there is no Defiler there, it's pretty easy to get on top of these Lurkers and start pushing forward. Can probably deny this 3 o'clock base if he gets enough units in place, but Soulkey is continuing to move in. This Dark Storm will wear off soon, so there's a possibility that maybe Soulkey can move it in before then, but if Best is able to actually push through here, this could be a big turning point in the game. I don't think it will be, though. The Defiler gets there just in time, and more lane pressure coming over here to the 3rd base. Gonna do a lot of damage over there. Soulkey just unloading everything onto the bases of Best right now. Best still hasn't been able to get those probes into his base. They've just been sitting there outside the base just glitching forever, and he really should have been taking that other mineral-only natural over there in the top left. Now Soulkey is in full force, going to be moving forward. There are a couple DTs mixed into this army, which I think is a very nice little thing for our Protoss player to do. He's going to be able to kill off a lot of Hydras over here at this base with this Reaver drop, but unfortunately it is eventually going to get cleaned up, and now Soulkey has all the map control he needs. He is controlling everything on the map. He's doing a fantastic job of just staying on top of absolutely everything. That Reaver does go down, and that 3 o'clock base is safe and free to mine now as well. Soulkey just playing this positional play perfectly. However, Best is coming in from all angles. Lots and lots of Zealots coming in here. And that's the GG. Soulkey not being able to hold on, that bottom left base being denied for too long.